Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paran Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vidam Sya Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanajana Shilakya Chakshuram Milidam Yena Tasma Shri Gurave Namah Gurva Bhishtam Supurakam Garaganara Sisha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipanam Shirupa Patanugam Govindabhidam Ujwalam Varatanum Bhaktyan Vidam Sundaram Vande Vishwagurun Shah Divyad Bhagavat Prem Noe Bija Pranam Devam Divyatanum Suchanda Baranam Balarka Chilanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sareka Varanam Vairagya Vidyamburim Sri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Baram Banditam Shubharam Mareka Sharanam Nyashishvara Sridharam Bansha Kalpatarubhyas Chakripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratabhishe Namah. So we're reading from Sri Chaitanya Bhagawat by Srila Vrindaban Das Thakur and translation by Sarvabhavana Das. And this is from Madhya-khanda, chapter 10, the great revelation of Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya suddenly spoke out, lifting his arms. Everyone look at me and ask any boon you desire. All the assembled devotees bubbled over with happiness, hearing the Lord's words, and they each asked a boon from the Lord. Advaitacharya spoke first, saying, My Lord, I only pray that you shower your grace on this ignorant and fallen soul. Someone else said, My father opposes my devotional involvement, so grant me this, O Lord. May his heart be transformed, and may he become a devotee. One of them prayed, Lord, please increase my faith in my Guru. In this way, they asked for blessings for their dear ones, disciples, sons, wives, servants, and so on. Lord Vishwambar is the benefactor of all his devotees and fulfills all their wishes. Smiling sweetly, he granted everyone's boon. All the while, Mukunda was behind the curtains outside the room, unable to muster sufficient courage to appear before the Lord. Mukunda knew all the devotees intimately and was loved by all. However, no one could understand why the Lord was apparently neglecting him, because whenever he sang, the Lord was always eager to hear. The Lord did not call him inside, nor did he come. The devotees felt concerned for Mukunda. Shivas Pandit said to the Lord, O Lord, what offense has Mukunda committed at your lotus feet? Mukunda is favored by you, and he is dear to all of us. Who can stop his heart from melting upon hearing Mukunda singing? He is devotionally inclined and always careful in all respects. Yet without seeing any apparent fault in him, you have rejected him, my Lord. If he has committed some mistake, then punish him. But why do you disown and push him away? Is he not your very own servant? O Lord, invite him to see you, for he will never come in unless you call him. The Lord said, Never speak like that to me. Do not plead to me on that wretched person's behalf. The descriptions you have heard about pretenders who make a show of humility, but the next moment are aggressive, are in fact a correct assessment of Mukunda. None of you really know him in truth. Mukunda sometimes is a perfect figure of humility, approaching me holding a straw in his teeth. However, the next moment he comes to strike me with a rod of iron. I cannot bear to see that pretentious wretch. Speaking eloquently in Mukunda's favor, Srila said, Who can understand the inconceivable workings of your energies? We never noticed anything offensive in Mukunda's character, and surely the shelter of your lotus feet is witness to his innocence. Lord Chaitanya commented, that spineless wretch will vociferously agree to all philosophical views to suit whatever company he is in. When he reads the Yoga Vashishta with the Dvaitacharya, he favors the impersonal Mayavadi philosophy. In the company of Vaishnavas, he pretends to be a Vaishnava, singing and dancing with perfect humility. Again, when he goes and joins with members of another Sampradaya, he rejects devotional service and flays the process of bhakti with aggressive criticism. One who claims that there is some process higher than devotional service factually strikes me with an iron rod. He commits a serious offense to the path of devotional service, and so I cannot see his face. Standing outside, Mukunda heard everything and realized that he would not be allowed to see Lord Chaitanya. Previously, on his guru's request, Mukunda did not accept the process of devotional service, and Lord Chaitanya, through his inconceivable mystic potency, knew of this. So Mukunda, pure devotee of the Lord, contemplated, there is no reason to remain alive any longer. I shall finish off the sinful body of mine. I do not know for how long I can go on. Mukunda spoke up aloud, please hear me, Sripad Thakur. Tell me, will I ever see my Lord Chaitanya again? He immediately broke down and wept bitterly. Mukunda's condition touched the compassionate hearts of the Vaishnavas. The Lord responded, let him go through another 10 million births, and then he can see me. When Mukunda heard this promise from the Lord's own mouth, he was overtaken by tremendous joy and stood there drenched in tears, repeating, I will get, Mukunda. Lord Chaitanya's servitor danced like a madman in ecstatic love of Krishna. The Lord's assurance that he would see him again made him dance in ecstasy. When Lord Chaitanya saw Mukunda dancing, he laughed and ordered, bring him here immediately. The Vaishnava devotees eagerly informed Mukunda to come quickly to the Lord's presence, but Mukunda did not hear anything. He was completely submerged in ecstasy. Lord Chaitanya said, O Mukunda, your offenses are condoned. Come see me. I think means they're forgiven. Your offenses are forgiven. Come, see me and receive my blessings. The devotees went and quickly brought Mukunda in front of the Lord. Mukunda fell to the ground, seeing the opulent appearance of the Lord. The Lord spoke, get up, my dear Mukunda. All your offenses have been exonerated. You lost your wealth of devotion by wrong association, but now again, by your loving devotion, you have conquered and indebted me. When I said to you that after 10 million births, you would have your desire to see me fulfilled, you had full faith in the infallibility of my words. Thus, immediately you pushed away all previous doubts and offenses. You have bound me eternally in your heart with the bonds of loving devotion. You are my singer, and you shall remain with me all this time. I've been cutting jokes with you because of our intimacy. If perchance you really commit millions of offenses, then I do not consider them offenses because you are eternally my dearly beloved associate. If perchance you really commit millions of offenses, then I do not consider them offenses because you are eternally my dearly beloved associate. Your body is cent per cent imbued with loving devotion to me. I perpetually reside upon your tongue as spiritual sound. As Mukunda heard Lord Chaitanya's reassuring words, he was moved to tears. He felt apathy towards himself. Condemning himself, he said, I am so degraded. I know nothing about devotional service. How can a faithless fool like me experience the bliss of devotion just by seeing you? Duryodhana could easily see your universal form, whereas scholars study throughout all the scriptures to have just a glimpse of that same form. Yet eventually Duryodhana and his entire family were stamped out, undergoing extreme pain, because he lacked the slightest devotion to you. Therefore, without possessing the proper devotional attitude, How can I experience bliss even if I see you, my Lord? On the request of Rukmini Devi, you went to rescue her from the overprotection of many powerful kings who saw you approach mounted on your bird carrier Garuda. They saw your noble kingly bearing and effulgent form. Your devotees like Lord Brahma meditate with great desire to see this effulgent form, just as you appeared in that Vidarbha kingdom. As you were kidnapping Rukmini Devi, the king saw you and put up a fight. However, they were all slain simply because they had no devotion for you. When you appeared in the form of Varaha, the boar, you picked up the earth between your tusks from the waters of the Garbhodak ocean, and the demon Hiranyaksha saw this extraordinarily brilliant form. The demigods constantly pray to see this wonderful form. Nevertheless, you killed Hiranyaksha because he was a demon who had no love or devotion to you. His brother Hiranyakashipu saw your terrible and mighty form of half man, half lion, which is rarely seen by anyone, and whose breast is the resting place of Mother Lakshmi. Your eternal consort, Hiranyakashipu, His brother Hiranyakashipu saw your terrible and mighty form of half man, half lion, which is rarely seen by anyone, and whose breast is the resting place of Mother Lakshmi, your eternal consort. Hiranyakashipu saw this wonderful form of Nrsimha, unparalleled in the entire creation, but with ease his life was squashed by you because he was a gross materialist and non-devotee. O Lord, I have no devotional feelings, yet strangely I am still alive. My head does not roll down due to grievous sins. Kubja, the hunchback maidservant of Mathura, the wives of the sacrificial Brahmin priest of Vrindaban, the noble ladies of the Mathura palace, the garland maker Sudama. What was their practice before they saw you for the first time? Yet all of them were elevated to the blissful state of loving devotional service to you. However, at the same time, Kamsa, the king of Mathura, saw you but was killed. I do not possess any devotion to you, my Lord, but still you keep me. Sri Ananta Sesha, that extremely powerful personality, supports this immense cosmic creation with great pleasure only because of his devotion to you. The entire universe sits upon just one of his many hundreds of hoods, just like an insignificant drop of water, while he is absorbed in the ecstatic pastime of glorifying you. Although he himself is without support or foundation, he is the support and sustainer of everyone. He can perform such extraordinary feats simply due to the potency of devotional service to you. And yet I am so fallen and impious that even such wonderful devotional fervor I cannot appreciate. I am destined for eternal degradation. Lord Shiva, Shankar, became the husband of Gauri, Durga, Mahamaya by dint of his devotional service. Lord Shiva Shankar became the husband of Gauri, Durga, Mahamaya by dint of his devotional service. Narada Muni rose to the platform of an eternal associate of the Lord through loving devotion. Vyasadeva compiled the entire Vedic literature, yet he was feeling dissatisfied deep in his heart. Previously, you had revealed to him in precise form the essence of the highest spiritual knowledge, the science of devotion, but he was unable to grasp the full import because of slight impurities of the mind. Then again, through Narada Muni, you spoke to him that same science of devotional service. In this way, he felt relieved and with happiness went on to perfect his human birth. I am worse than an insect, yet I am not moved by such devotion. O Lord, how can I ask to see you? Mukunda began to weep, and raising his arms up in the air, his body trembled as he released heavy sighs in ecstatic devotional emotion. Mukunda is a pure devotee with a simple and spontaneous love of the Lord. How can I describe sufficiently the extent of his glories? He is counted amongst the most intimate eternal associates of the Lord. Lord Vishvambar was moved by his devotees' anguish and feelings. He said, Mukunda, your devotional service is very dear to me. Wherever and whenever you sing, I will be present there. All that you have said is true. One cannot understand me as I am just by seeing me. One can only realize my true self through the eyes of loving devotion. Truly I say to you, for you are very dear to me, that the instructions I have given in the Vedic literature about the different rights and duties of everyone and their concomitant results cannot be changed by anyone. I alone can do as I please and supersede these rights and results because I have the full authority to do so. I have made you speak the truth about devotional service. Nothing is of any value if it is devoid of my devotional service. It pains me grievously if someone is against my devotional service, and due to my sufferings, such an atheist is deprived of all happiness, even if he sees me. Demon King Kamsa's washerman also saw me. I asked him for help, but he refused. This was very unfortunate for him because he was deprived of the opportunity to render devotional service. He had no attraction for me. He had performed very severe austerities and penances for many, many lifetimes just to see me. This piety gave him the good fortune to see me, yet he could not experience the exhilaration of seeing me due to a lack of devotion. I do not show any mercy to non-devotees, and even if they see me, they are deprived of the transcendental result, eternal happiness. One's devotion is drained if one is offensive to the authorized process of devotional service. In the absence of devotion, seeing me is fruitless. Whatever you have said is actually what I wanted to say. In fact, why should any other topic grace your mouth? I shall propagate the process of devotional service everywhere. This I have said to you. I will do this through your voice, through your songs. All the Vaishnavas' hearts will melt with ecstatic joy hearing your songs. Just as you are very dear to me, you will also be so amongst all my devotees, the Vaishnavas. Wherever I descend in any incarnation, you will also be present as my singer. As the Lord showered blessings and boons on Mukunda, the Vaishnava assembly resounded with great jubilation. Devotees clasped their hands and exuberantly sang out, Glory to Lord Jagannath, glory the Lord. Glory to Lord Jagannath, glorify the Lord. Whoever hears these narrations about Mukunda receiving the Lord's special mercy is favored by the Lord to become an associate of Mukunda as a singer. All the topics on the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya are highly confidential subjects, undisclosed in the Vedas. Only the intelligent class of men can appreciate these topics and not the foolish. Those who relish these pastimes will certainly be able to see Lord Chaitanya face to face. So it continued. Each Vaishnava, as he so desired, had his wish fulfilled by the Lord. Srivas Pandit is a very great and exalted personality, so all these pastimes took place in his own house. The Lord appeared to each devotee individually as a different incarnation according to that devotee's attachment to a particular incarnation of the Lord. All these manifestations were extraordinary and super excellent. Lord Chaitanya performed his pastimes in this manner. Every day the Lord revealed his supramundane pastimes, and all the assembled Vaishnavas sang along with their wives, saw these extraordinary happenings. One who surrenders his body and mind and becomes the Lord's servitor can receive these transcendental. One who surrenders his body and mind and becomes the Lord's servitor can perceive these transcendental activities. In Navadip, there was no dearth of men who were in the renounced order of sannyas, who were mental spectators, who were studying the scriptures, who were performing severe penances, and who were pursuing yogic practices. Many of them had been studying the Gita and Bhagavatam for many years, and some of them were even giving lessons to others about those scriptures, yet not one of them was willing to give up their own ways, practices, and religious views. Some undertook strict vows to remain celibate throughout life and to never accept any service from others. In this way, they led lives of extreme hardship and difficulty. However, the intelligence of these practitioners was covered over by false ego to such an extent that none of them could perceive the descent of Vaikuntha to Srivas Pandit's residence and the resultant spiritual bliss emanating from there. That which was seen and experienced by even the servants and maidservants in Srivas Pandit's house was unknown even to the scholars well versed in all the scriptures. The wonderful boon Murari Gupta's servant received went unnoticed by those who had shaved their heads to exhibit renunciation. Lord Chaitanya can be captivated by devotion alone, and not with wealth, high birth, erudition, or any such mundane means. One may be crowned with wonderful accomplishments, yet he is unable to attract mercy of Lord Chaitanya, for the Lord submits only to unalloyed devotion, as is clearly declared in the Vedas. Therefore, in Navadip, all the great scholars and pundits were unaware of these extraordinary happenings. Those who are sinful are like lakes without water, where beauty is absent. How otherwise can the living beings be deprived of the spiritual bliss that comes from experiencing these pastimes? These supramundane eternal pastimes of the Lord are continuously existing and without cessation. The Vedas describe them as sometimes manifest and at other times unmanifest. Lord Chaitanya's pastimes are being performed even now. Whomever the Lord blesses can see, others cannot. The Lord appeared to his different devotees in the particular incarnation the devotees worshipped him. He personally taught them about his supreme absolute position, that he is the source of everyone and everything. Later, this knowledge was then transmitted to posterity. The Lord said, "In every birth you will receive my association. Your servants and disciples will thus also see my pastimes through you." The Lord then distributed the garlands that graced his breast, and all were blessed to receive the chewed remnants of the Lord's betel. The devotees were caught up in the waves of ecstatic joy as they munched on remnants of the radiant moon-like Lord. The remnants of the Lord's foodstuffs went to the pious and fortunate Narayani. The Lord personally gave this innocent little niece of Srivas Pandit, his brother's daughter, his own remnants. She ate the Lord's remnants with great joy and relish. The Vaishnavas blessed her, saying that she was the most fortunate since she could directly serve the Supreme Lord Narayan at such a young age. Yeah. After Narayani had eaten, Lord Chaitanya said, Narayani, let me hear you cry for Krishna in great ecstasy. Such is the influence of Lord Chaitanya's words that she immediately called out, Krishna, Krishna, and began to weep. Thus for all time, this pastime became famous amongst the Vaishnavas, and the little girl became known as Narayani, who ate Lord Chaitanya's remnants. As the devotees were beckoned forward by the Lord, they hastened to his presence. It's interesting because Narayani, she's the mother of the author of the Chaitanya Bhagawat. She's Vrindaban Das Thakur's mother, Narayani. All the devotees were beckoned forward by the Lord. They hastened to his presence. All these narrated pastimes of Sri Chaitanya are perfectly transcendental. If one does not have faith in them, then his future is bleak and dark. Lord Chaitanya is very close and dear to Advaitacharya. This relationship makes Advaitacharya glorious. Lord Nityananda is very close and dear to Lord Chaitanya. These glories of Lord Chaitanya are sung in all the Vedic literatures. If one does not recognize Lord Nityananda's identity as a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, one may be respected by the whole world, but he is worth no more than a straw to the learned Vaishnava assembly. Lord Nityananda introduces himself saying, I am Lord Chaitanya's servant. He is always in this mood of a servitor. Only by his mercy one develops love for Lord Chaitanya. All detriments in spiritual life are overcome by worshiping Lord Nityananda. The greatest feeling I always cherish in my heart is that Lord Chaitanya is the Lord of my Lord. O Lord Chaitanya, kindly offer me the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, who as Ananta Sesha is holding this universe. I am only able to sing the glorious life and pastimes of Lord Chaitanya out of my love and attachment for Lord Balaram. My Lord Balaram always desires the best for the world. Nityananda knows no other designation other than being Chaitanya's servant, and only through serving Nityananda is one eligible to become a devotee of Sri Chaitanya. As only by Lord Nityananda's grace I can know Lord Chaitanya in truth. Similarly, to fully comprehend the truth about devotional service, one must receive the blessings of Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda is very dear to all the Vaishnava devotees, and everyone can receive from Lord Nityananda entry into the path of devotional service. Somehow, if by chance someone disregards Lord Nityananda, then Lord Chaitanya himself condemns him to eternal suffering. The full glory of Lord Nityananda is very rarely known. Even the great yogi and exalted Vaishnava, Lord Seva, does not fully know his unlimited potencies. One who is not offensive and critical of others, and who always chants Krishna's holy name, will soon be able to captivate with his love the uncontrollable and invisible Lord Chaitanya. The scriptures instruct that spiritual goals are unattainable through criticism of others. The religion expounded by the Bhagavatam is to respect everyone. These narrations of the Madhya-khanda are like nectar, but to an atheist they taste bitter. If one has a bitter taste eating sweets, then he is truly unfortunate and sick, and that really does not change the taste of sweets to one of bitterness. Similarly, if one cannot relish the nectarine pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, then that is his great misfortune. These narrations of the Madhya-khanda are like nectar, but to an atheist they taste bitter. If one has a bitter taste eating sweets, then he is truly unfortunate and sick, and that really does not change the taste of sweets to one of bitterness. Similarly, if one cannot relish the nectarine pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, then that is his great misfortune. A person, even though in the renounced order of sannyas, will enter into a countless cycle of births and total ignorance if he is offensive to Lord Chaitanya, whereas if even a bird sings the name of Lord Chaitanya, even without proper spiritual knowledge, it will surely enter the Lord's eternal abode. All glory to Lord Gaurachandra, the life of Lord Nityananda. Kindly make your beloved Lord Nityananda my life and soul. I offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of all your associates with whom you perform so many pleasurable pastimes. Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are my life and soul. I, Vrindaban Das, offer this song to their lotus feet. Okay. Undo it. Mm-hmm. So you go tonight?
This morning. Our flight is at noon. So.
Noon today?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we gotta head out soon.
Who's flying with you? Oh, she's already over there, huh?
I think she's in San Jose. Yeah, we're gonna pick her up in San Jose.
Okay. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Janavaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Janavaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Janavaya Janavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Janavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Giridhari Gopinatha Mananamon Giridhari Gopinatha Mananamon Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gadadhara Shiva Sari Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatam Bhakta Raghuna Jai Rupa Sanatam Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghuna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Dasa Raghuna Hey Jai Gosai Kori Charana Manan Hey Jai Gosai Kori Charana Manan Javaite Vignana Shavishta Puran Javaite Vignana Shavishta Puran Hey Jai Gosai Jarmui Tarada Hey Jai Gosai Jarmui Tarada Tasabar Pada Renu Mora Panchagram Radha Krishna Nitya Leela Gaurila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindaban. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Naman. Guru Vaishnava Pade Majai Naman. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narottam-dan. Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narottam-dan. Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koriyan. Hare Nam Sankirtana Kohe Narottam-dan. Nam Sankirtana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Kesha Parikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhariju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Ashtatara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Ashtatara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Rakshira Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namachari Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Ragana Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Ragana Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsi Go Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Koladvit Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Madharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindaban Dham Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Khana Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Ju Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Shri Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Bhagawat Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jai Vrishaka Ki Jai. Huh?